Hello, everyone. Welcome to our 21st community call. Today, we will be discussing how you can test your web application with the plain text commands and how you can generate high quality leads 10x faster. After that, we'll have a small discussion if we'll have some time. So I'll keep the topic a secret for now, and if we'll have the time, we can proceed with that. Please bear in mind that the call will be recorded. If you'd like to cut out something, yesterday we had a mention from one of our honorable community members on Twitter. And that person tagged our account on Twitter and mentioned that during one of the calls, this person accidentally shown GitHub tokens during the call. Of course, we cut that out, but that was like a nice piece of AI product Hive lore that made it to the outer internet. So yeah,
Yeah.
I won't tell you who that person was, but yeah, that was really fun and cool experience. And yeah, we are honored to have that person on our community. So this is our today's agenda. We will have a small intro, then we'll take a look at test Yogi, and after that, Morena. And after that, a small discussion, of course, if we will have some time. And please meet our today's guests, Vlad and Mahir. So Vlad is a serial entrepreneur and co-founder of multiple startups, and his Twitter feed is filled with his achievements in the cryptocurrency area, and the startup that he's working on is basically pulling a lot of different sources of information, and probably Vlad has some predictions about cryptocurrency prices, so I'm really curious about that. And Mahir is working as a software engineer at the US bank, and he is also a serial product builder and works on the multiple tools simultaneously. And today we will be looking at his testing framework, which he made open source. So yeah, I guess that's it for the intro. Let's take a look at test Yogi, and after that, Vlad, the stage will go to you. So yeah, please, Mahir, take it from here, and please show us the test Yogi.
Sure, I'll quickly share my screen.
Yep, please go ahead.
So I have created this app primarily because I am a very lazy software developer. I simply don't like testing I don't like writing tests. I can still manage unit tests, but automation tests are where I completely lose it. I just don't like writing them. So AI has sort of been a boon for me because now by using this tool that I've created, I can just write my tests in plain English. And also for a non-technical product guy, he can also uh, write unit tests, freeing up a lot of engineering time for other engineers that can work on the product and not spend much time on writing automated tests. So this is what the screen looks like. By the way, this is completely open source. You can find it on GitHub. I'll paste the link in the chat.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so this is just a simple app that I've spun up to test today for demo. It's a simple counter app. You can increment, decrement. Then there's a routing checkout where you can move to a new page. So let's say I'll start with a very simple test. Let's say I want to test whether this button is working or not. It's a very simple test just for uh, demo purposes. So yeah, so what I need is I just need the ID of that button, or even class works, but we'll just go with ID for now. So I just need the ID, and when I click the button, this text changes to 1, right? Let's say I just want to test this for my web app. So I just need the ID. The ID is green, so I just need to write click the button with ID green, and I need the URL that I'm testing, and what the button does, it increments this value to 1, right? So I need the ID of that value, that P, it is count, right? So the text with ID count should be 1. We don't need to do any setup like we need to do in while writing automated tests. All we need to do is write these two things and just click on test now. It'll spin up a Selenium browser. It'll check, and here you go. The tests are passing. Now let's do a little bit more complicated test. Let's check the routing. So when I click on this checkout button, it's routed to /checkout. Right. So again, I would just need the ID of this button, which is blue. So what I'll do is I'll quickly refresh this. Also, you can add more tests. These are the sub scenarios, and these are individual test blocks. You can add scenarios for each block. So what I'll do is now I'll just click the button with ID blue. I'll take the route that I want to test, and it should navigate to, where does it navigate to? It navigates to the checkout route. So I pasted it here, should navigate to this route. Just click on test. And here we go. Now, how do we know if this is giving us correct or correct output or not? There are two ways to check it. Firstly, in the browser, I'll just write a false test like cart. So this second block should fail. The first one will not because it found the blue button. So this is failing. So that's how we know that it's checking the correct route. And the second way to check is here in the console. If you see, this is the URL that it found, and it does not match the expected. Sorry, this is the URL that it found, and it does not match the expected checkout URL. So that's how you know that it's showing correct. I mean, it is testing correctly. So now let's say I want to write this same scenario by like clicking a blue button and navigate to this route. So for today, if I want to do it manually in Selenium, this is the setup that I need. This is the kind of code that I need to write if I want to do it today without using my app. But if I use my app, we just need 2 lines of plain English, and then there we have tested it. Apart from these two things, we can test multiple things. We can also, if I show you the code, there are tons of things that we can test. We can test an API request. We can also tell the app to wait. We can assert clicks. We can check if the API request returns a 200 or not. So all the major things that we write in an automated test, everything can be tested by this app.
And yeah, that's a great demo, honestly. Like that's like straight to the action. So yeah, that I haven't seen that in a long time. So yeah, thanks, Mahir. So from what I see, basically you're using GPT 3.5 to basically translate the plain text commands into the Selenium driver. How's that called? Like not actions, but so basically GPT 3.5 gives you the like the body of your test result, or how does that work under the hood?
So GPT 3.5 interprets that command and gives me so you don't get a fixed result every time from GPT 3.5, right? So it gives me an interpretation of that result, and the Python code that I've written, it takes the important information from that interpretation, and then it decides what it wants to do with that particular information.
Mm-hmm. And what if I'd like to make some um, What if I'd like to make some more like complicated tests? For example, I'd like to check this and after that check that and et cetera, et cetera.
Or
Is it possible
to
to do
chain
so?
them together, to chain together the test cases.
Yeah, so that's how I chain it, right? Like this is a single block. And
Hmm.
after coming to this URL, let's say I want to check something else. I want to fill this form. So even I can do that as well. I can click on this login button as well. So we can chain these tests together
Oh,
as a
interesting.
single block.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. And eventually, how can we be sure that the block that we are testing, this is not like false positive thing? Is it possible to like cross-check it with some other like validation tests, for example, or like that might be false positive and we like kind of need to accept that?
Yeah, so for that particular thing, I have it in terminal. I haven't merged it with the UI yet. So in the terminal, if you execute any test, you will see the expected text. This is the expected text, that the one that is expected from us, and the one that the Selenium actually received, not received, actually found. So this is the one example for the question that you asked, Max, that this is what Selenium had expected, the current URL, but this is what it found. So this
Mhm.
is false, right? So this is something that I need to send it to the UI as well. So that way we'll get a better, we'll get more confidence that it's not a false positive or a false negative.
Mhm. Yeah,
Is,
that
is your tool actually writing the Selenium test and saving them in a way that you could rerun them later, Mahir?
Not for now, but that is on the books as well. Like I can save it
Okay.
somewhere in a DB so that
Yeah.
I don't need to rewrite the tests again and again.
Or you could save them in a file, right? Like actually run, like save, if you could somehow generate the code, then you could rerun it outside of the tool as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? In a regression of some way that would be more automated, perhaps.
Interesting. Yeah,
Or you run it through your application too. Either way, I suppose.
interesting. Also, we can merge in the pipeline as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those, I think those are the issues that I'll have to create on GitHub and then start working on them for now. But yeah, but those things are pretty much possible.
Yeah, I know, I get it. Like everything's possible. It's what do you what do you decide to do? But
Yeah.
I like this because you started with your own need, right?
Yeah.
Like you decided that like, hey, I need to be able to do this a bit faster. Like you said, I'm being lazy. I want to do this another way. And how much time would you say this has saved you? Like how has it had an impact on your own work that you do? Um,
So let's say we have a sprint, and so the entire automation takes more than half of the sprint. With this tool, you can just get the testing done within a day,
is that right?
right? Because you don't need to set up anything. You don't need to worry about tests breaking here and there.
Hmm.
Um, uh, yeah, you can just use plain English and get done with it. And since you have written most of the code yourself, you can also you know the IDs, and you know what identifiers that you're using for your code. So that really speeds up the process of testing.
Sure.
Uh, by the way, Juan, if I'm not mistaken, you've been like asking about uh like kind of AI projects that like you can kind of help with from like the product manager standpoint, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, Mahir, like what do you think? Like does it make sense to kind of um like maybe help you with some product management stuff there, or like do you have anything to that you'd like to get from this project? Like I'm kind of trying to do some link building here, like maybe we'll have the connection or something like that.
Well, honestly, I don't look to commercialize it.
Uh-huh.
because I want it to be free of cost. But the thing that we can do is we can probably improve on the user experience part. That is somewhere where I could use some collaboration to make it more user friendly for other software developers to maybe reduce the learning curve that this product might have. This
If you guys
project.
are down for that, yeah, absolutely. I would love to discuss it. No problem at all. But I actually liked it. Yeah. And what do you have in mind? What do you feel is lacking right now?
A couple of things actually. This is very basic UI that I have. I could do it in a way that is a bit more user friendly, maybe.
Like for example, regardless of the design, like have you talked to developers and telling them, having them tell you like, yeah, like this is an issue, this is something that's kind of a friction point for me right now, or has that not happened yet for you?
Oh no, that has. So I've been working for 7 years in software, and that this is one thing that has always had an issue with the developers, that they tend to throw this automated testing task to other developers, that can you help me out with this, or can you do it? I'm busy with other tasks. So there is friction for sure.
Okay, absolutely. Okay, yeah, I would love to actually have like, if you could have a small chat whenever you're able, regarding what kind of problems are users actually facing right now,
Mm-hmm.
and see how we can solve that through UX, or maybe difference in the flow.
Yeah,
That's
sounds
cool.
good.
That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the things
Because
I think is interesting that you might be able to solve is the the possibility when things change in the DOM, right? So you're linking to an ID, right? And you're looking at that ID, and I think one of the challenges that's always going to be there is what happens when if that changes over time, that it's
Hmm.
going to break the tests.
oh
So
yeah,
it's
that's
Correct. So I
it's
think
an
so the next
interesting thing.
iteration for this, or the next version for this, would be to not use IDs, would be to use some sort of a mixture of GPT-4 and 4 vision
Yeah,
to, just write the test that, click this button and
yeah.
I want to do this. So
So it
that
has
would
to run
be
through
the
steps
next.
to find the button, and then you could regenerate that, and every time uh, it doesn't become so breakable. That's cool. That's a good idea. That's good.
Yeah,
and
that should be the next version.
Mahir, there's a platform called Rainforest. I'm not sure you heard of it or not. That do test automation, but not of this like the kind you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if you can look at that, I think you can get a lot of ideas there. Rainforest QA, QA, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. I think you can get a lot of input from that.
Yeah,
This
sure.
was not based on AI, but they have introduced some AI modules.
Modules as well. Okay. I think this would be very helpful for companies like QA Wolf. So they are automated testing as a service. They provide that service. So, they have tons of clients to serve and write automated tests for them. So, instead of writing them from scratch, this tool could be very useful for them to, onboard more clients, and by using the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
resources.
So QA Wolf is okay.
Yeah,
This
it's
look
testing
interesting.
as a service. Testing as a service. It's just
Nice. Pretty good.
Cool.
I know it's not your main focus right now, but have you talked about like strategies for maybe monetization down the line?
I mean, if if that is an option, sure. But it's not something that's on my mind right now.
Okay,
Monetizing
okay,
this particular app.
okay, that's no problem.
I
Do
think
you have any ideas? I mean, I'm open to ideas for monetization.
Honestly, like seeing that there are already like competitors, you could say, on the landscape, maybe benchmark them a little and see what are their strategies. But we can absolutely talk that out. Like, I mean, if somebody already figured out how to like make a profit out of it, we could definitely check that out and see what their strategies are and where you can either make it cheaper or what kind of way you can get a competitive advantage, you know, because the product itself is really cool, but we should really figure out like what are you offering that's different to the table, and how we can monetize that.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a great idea. As a person who's working at the company that focuses on open source, like I can definitely say that there are like multiple models that can help you make open source application monetizable and like actually build a huge startup. Like right now, I'm helping one of our previous community call members who built their framework for JavaScript applications and helping them with fundraising, and they are like entirely open source. So yeah, I think there are a lot of cool ways to do that. So yeah, glad you've had like the connection, folks. So yeah,
Yeah,
probably
I mean, for
yeah.
example, the CEO of Airbnb said that if you wait for your website to be pretty, you waited too late, you know. And I feel like you don't have a problem here regarding UI, but I mean, the idea, the project is really cool. But what maybe you should try to figure out next is what do you want to make of it down the line, and maybe we can work it backwards from there, you know,
Right.
and maybe do some comparative analysis to see what are you bringing to the table that or others aren't, or what are you doing different that's gonna be better for at least some developers, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
We could definitely check that out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Super glad we like made this demo extremely useful. So yeah, that's super cool. So yeah, I think we can move further. So yeah,
I'll just
Mahir,
share the GitHub link in the chat. Feel free
uh-huh.
to check it out.
Yeah, thank you very much for the demo, Mahir.
Thank you.
Yeah, Vlad, I think you can take it from here. So yeah, well, you'll share your screen. Like I've mentioned, your other startup, Contora.
Just one
Right?
last comment. Sorry, one
Uh-huh.
last comment. Maybe you can focus on some niche, like you can focus on testing e-commerce platform and have like integration with WordPress plugins, so that you can target a particular group of people. So that would be much better, I think, to start with.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I think there isn't anyone who is targeting a niche.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there isn't anyone. Yeah. That's a good
Yeah.
idea. It's good. Thanks.
Awesome. So yeah, Vlad, while you're sharing your screen, I've mentioned already your other thing that we will not talk about today, but hopefully somewhere in the future. So I wonder, like, do you use AI to predict crypto prices?
Yes, we tried it a little bit. We tried building a product for institutional hedge funds in crypto. In total, there are about, I don't know, 500 such companies that trying to automatically trade cryptocurrencies. So for them, like we tracked about 100 crypto tickers, and we track news around the tickers, like what are the news, what is the news buzz about Bitcoin for today, and we analyzed these like pieces of news via ChatGPT in order to make kind of prediction, whether it's a good news or bad news for a short-term price of Bitcoin, for example.
Well, yeah, that's definitely a topic for one of the upcoming calls regarding the bull run that didn't happen months ago, and like the crypto crash, like during the weekend. All my friends who are investing in crypto, they're like in panic mode right now. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's why we postponed this direction, because we were building this product for crypto for 2 years almost. But it's really hard to get some traction when market is frozen. It was crypto winter for 2 years almost after FTX crash and so on. So that's why we decided to iterate over some other product ideas.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, organically we are switching to your other product idea.
Yeah.
about the lead generation. So will you tell us about a bit Murena and how AI helps you with that stuff?
Yeah, sure. So in general, Murena basically is a lead generation platform, as you said, focused, designed for small sales teams and individual SDRs. Because we conducted a lot of user interviews and we understood that big market players like Apollo or ZoomInfo, you probably heard about them, they're kind of organically growing in the enterprise segment. They're adding much more features for big sales teams, and their platforms becoming like clunky and complicated for individual SDRs. And our main goal is to build something really simple, very straightforward, so our users can just describe in plain English what kind of people profiles they're looking for, and we will just serve these leads with the possibility of easy export. So, and we also, to do this, we integrate an AI in all kind of major steps of the user journey in order to simplify the process. I can share my screen and show it in detail. So I need to open system preferences for Zoom to share my screen. One moment.
Yeah, that's classic. While you're you're doing that, so today I've opened our application called Orbit that we are using to track kind of our community health and oops, guess we lost Vlad. Hopefully that's not for long.
No, I think he has to re-enter because of the Zoom thing. So he's going to pop out and come back in again.
I know why Zoom stocks are at the all-time low right now. Like
Really?
yes,
Hey, Vlad.
I'll share the picture right now into the random channel into our Slack, but the Zoom basically failed everything. I have no idea how they've managed to do that, but they are minus 90% since October 2020. Can you imagine that? That's
Oh my gosh.
Jesus
wow.
Christ.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm back here.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Vlad.
Yes.
Go ahead. We were complaining about Zoom because you had to pop out and pop back in again because it's a pain in the butt when the first time you want to share a screen. So
Yeah.
go right ahead.
Yeah, okay. So can you see it now? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is main screen of our application. As you can see, we have two search options. First one is AI search. It's currently in beta. And here you can just describe in plain English what kind of leads or companies you're looking for. And we will try to find such companies. Second way is more like traditional mechanic. Search by filters. It's how Apollo, ZoomInfo, Sales Navigators build their search process. You can apply different criteria like department of the person, industry, some keywords, and yeah, we will apply these filters to get these leads. So I want to show just a quick example of this. For example, we're looking for executives and of commerce companies in the US that use Klaviyo and Shopify. So this is just niche example of what can be provided here, because for each sales lead, we also have the technographics, what kind of technologies their company use, what kind of, and some basic fields like headcount, industry, and so on. So here you can see we put C-level leadership title, we applied technographics, Klaviyo, Shopify, we put country United States, and that's all automatically from my prompt. So it's quite simple. And for each person, yeah.
Sorry for interrupting. So those are a production data, or that's the dummy data that you're showing right now?
It's production data.
Okay, so we'll blur this.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. I wanted to ask after our call.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that was first example. Second example, you can put company domain in this field. And that's more interesting because we automatically pull content from your website, automatically understand target market of the company and what kind of ICP is relevant for this company. So let's try, for example, mixpanel.com. Imagine I work in Mixpanel and I want to find my best leads. Let's check what we have. Sometimes it can work for 20 to 30 seconds. It's more resource intensive process. And our AI is always trying to apply the most strict filters. So sometimes you can see 0 leads, but then you need just to fix the filter. So let's see. We choose these functional areas like C-level, product project management, engineering, and marketing from very traditional industries for startups, computer software, internet, IT. And we also automatically understood that companies that potentially would like to buy Mixpanel, they most probably already using some old school analytics system. So it can be Google Analytics, it can be Segment, maybe Amplitude, Optimizely. Yeah. So what else we have? We put countries where Mixpanel have the most customer base. So most probably in these countries, someone will decide to purchase Mixpanel solution, and headcount SMB companies from 50 to 1,000 people. Yeah. So basically that's the main flow. And after user crafted the perfect list of leads, he can select all, for example, select some amount of them and export them through like push to CRM, push to prospecting tool, or export as CSV file. So it's pretty straightforward approach. And I also wanted to show one more thing, because we added AI in some of our filters as well. For example, company keywords. It's very often situation when you need to find some really narrow market industry or market segment. For example, recently we had a client who wanted to find all manufacturers of conjugated vaccines in the US. So it's very narrow topic, and it's not possible to choose such companies using industry filter. So for this case, you can simply put some keywords describing company here, and we will search for occurrence of these keywords in company description. And also interesting feature, lookalike search. We used vector-based search for this, for each company. We took their LinkedIn description, we converted this description into vectors. And when you put something here, we compare a vector for a website that you submitted and vectors of other websites. And this way we compare like the most nearest vectors in order to get the most similar companies, something like that. So I think, yeah, I described almost everything. So maybe you have any questions for now.
So let me tell you, as a prospective customer, let me just say it this way, right? I'm speaking that way. One of the things that I have to do when I'm looking for prospective clients is I have to figure out, because we're professional services, we're not selling a product, we're selling a professional service. And I have to find out the kind of people that work there at the company, and maybe the kind of people that don't work there at the company, right? If we're going to, for example, Planorama, we provide software requirements and design services. So one of the things I have to do in LinkedIn, if you're using LinkedIn, is I've got to search for whether they have a large set of designers already there, right? So that's a very it's the negative scenario, right? I want to see if they don't. I want to see if they do have software developers and if they don't have designers, right? And
Yeah.
the problem is that UX design goes under a lot of names. It could be UX design, it could be product design, it could be UX research, it could be UI design, or it could be UI develop, not UI developer. That's typically a developer role. But there's a lot of other areas that it's almost hard to predict. And I've got to have like a little text file open where I select like here are all the roles that I don't want them to have, right? To see if it's one I would reach out to. So you're looking at it from a product perspective. Think of it from a professional services company like my own and like others. And that's where this could be really powerful too, because I think you have the capability, or you're probably pretty close to it. But think in terms of the negative searches I have to do, or the positive searches I have to do, and how you marry them together, kind of in a Boolean, this and this, or this and this,
Yeah, I totally agree. We discussed this with the team. It's very important to have also kind of possibility to put blacklist words. I think that what you mean. So blacklist titles and blacklist companies maybe, and so on.
Yep. But it's a nice, it looks good. Yeah, I'll tell you the other thing. If you happen to be using LinkedIn information, I've purchased leads before. I've gone through that process, and the problem always has been I wasn't so concerned about the email addresses, but it was getting the right types of companies to be included, right? So it wasn't even just always the individual roles, but it's like, well, I want to find a company that's building enterprise SaaS software, right? Maybe they're in this industry, but I don't want a company that does IT services or software development firms. So there's some specificity we have to put there. And maybe if you can describe it, in a few sentences, I could describe it like I'm saying it right now. And that would be, if it can break it apart and figure out, here's who we need to bring in, and here's who we shouldn't be bringing in. On the other side, for LinkedIn has a lot of that information. What I would want is not the emails, would actually be the LinkedIn contact URL, like the actual person's URL for LinkedIn. Because sometimes folks, me included, I don't want to send an email. I want to reach out to them on LinkedIn, and having that immediate contact info would be a big help.
Yeah, I agree with you. We have LinkedIn's, by the way, of the people when you open any profile. Let me quickly show you. So we always have LinkedIn.
Oh, okay. Got it. You've got it there.
Yeah. And when you do export, you can also export a CSV.
Oh, I see. You've got it in the
LinkedIn's will be here, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I got you. Okay. Cool. I like it because it's just the simplicity behind it. And if you can be as powerful as you're suggesting in terms of being able to describe what you're looking for and have the AI figure out all those ifs and elses that I need to effectively do myself, that'd be a real time saver.
Yeah, I agree with you. Thank you. We are trying to add more filters that allow more targeted and granular search, like this company keywords, similar companies, and so on. Yeah.
I mean, you could imagine even like that top one reminded me where it says we are hiring. Imagine, you could also mix in the requirements. They're hiring for these kinds of people, but they don't have these kinds of people, right? So if they have a team of 20 designers and they're hiring one more, that's not so interesting. If they have no or 0 or 1 designers and they're hiring 2 more, that's very interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Right? We're thinking about integrating job openings data because we don't have it for now, but it can have a lot of applications. Like it's possible to extract technographics from job openings data, or if company is trying to hire AWS manager or something like that, probably they use it, and so on, different applications.
No, you're right. You can kind of draw inferences from their hiring trend right now and say, hey, they're building up a development team, you know, or they're building up this kind of team based on the, you kind of infer what they might be doing. That's really interesting too,
Yeah,
right?
interesting.
I
This
like
could
that.
already be awesome for even targeted email marketing, just already as it is.
Mhm.
Like I could really see it being used by many companies that want to do like customized ads to either LinkedIn or even email. Like honestly, yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm already trying it out. Like congratulations, really good.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, by the way, regarding the vector search, you mentioned that you're basically taking the LinkedIn company descriptions and putting them into the vector database and then like doing the vector search. Can you give like a couple examples of how that LinkedIn description looks like? Because like in my imagination, like that is probably like a set of buzzwords for the most part, or do those descriptions look like as a genuine company description, like we are doing this and that and blah blah blah, or like those are just the buzzwords, like we are doing the world better and that's it.
Yeah, good question. So usually it's a mix. It's kind of some companies put a very strict description describing their services, like we are an email marketing agency based in the UK and we help with this and this. But some companies use more like marketing approach, more buzzwords. So yeah, but our goal is to not to take descriptions from LinkedIn pages of the companies. Next step for us is to pull text from from companies' websites. So from first page of each company website, we want to pull some amount of text and create vectors for this text.
Yeah, that would sound much
Yeah.
more reasonable, I think, so that you can actually figure out what kind of services the company provides instead of like those one-liners that we are the best of the best, etc. So
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds cool. And yeah, regarding the ChatGPT stuff, so how does that work under the hood? So you are basically gathering a huge amount of data, right? And then you're doing some kind of like a plain text search and then generalizing it with like the ChatGPT, or you're like implemented some more like sophisticated machine learning techniques to to pull that data. So like I'm curious, how do you basically translate the plain text that you are entering into the search bar when you're like using that AI tab, and how that translates into like the search output basically?
Yeah. So currently it works very simple. We use ChatGPT, not ChatGPT, OpenAI API and Perplexity, two models, and we simply submitted request from the user to API, and we have assistant that converts this prompt from the user into set of filters. If user submits domain, we pull content of this domain, and based on this, OpenAI suggests best set of filters. But right now, we already test an vector-based approach for this. We transformed each person profile in our database into like piece of text, like this person worked in this industry, has that much years of experience, and so on and so on. We convert this set of text for each profile into vector, and yeah, we will move away from ChatGPT to vector-based approach, most probably.
Yeah.
I have two questions.
Yeah.
So, firstly, since you're using Perplexity API, why do you need to use the vector store? And secondly, do you think instead of using the Perplexity API, you could just, scrape LinkedIn and add that as a prompt in the API? Would that work as well?
Yeah, so first of all, we already have database. It's like 90% of our work is to create our own database of profiles. We constantly rescrape LinkedIn public pages, Crunchbase public pages, companies' websites, and so on. It's kind of huge amount of information. Every month we update it, and based on this database, we put like AI search in order to index this database or vector-based approach. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, moving away from like OpenAI to more like strict algorithmic approach with the vector database seems like a reasonable direction. So yeah, congrats on that, I think. Yeah, I've been working on a couple like my side projects that were also focused on like kind of around pulling chunks of information from like the huge text and putting that into the vector database. So what I've done basically, so yeah, what was the premise? So I've been building a system that basically consumed a huge feedback from the user. Like while talking to my friends who are startup founders, they complained a lot that sometimes they receive a huge wall of text as a user feedback, and they need to pull out specific points out of that huge feedback that they can convert into GitHub issues. And they don't want like to read 3 pages of text and try to pull out what ideas the person had. So what I built is basically a small application that took that huge piece of user feedback, put it into the ChatGPT, asked ChatGPT to reduce that feedback to a specific set of points, and basically the core ideas that user had, or like the core pain points. And then ChatGPT outputted the JSON with small chunks of information that I've put into the vector database. And after that, I've did a search, a vector search through those small pieces of feedback via the vector search, and I've combined them. So if several users submitted huge pieces of feedback, but they've had the same core idea there. So for example, like a UI issue that they've had. Eventually, ChatGPT would reduce those feedbacks to the small pieces, and those small pieces were combined because their vectors were similar. And on the UI, you eventually got a condensed set of 3 small feedbacks that were combined as a one piece. And after that, like the product manager can take a look at the dashboard and check, okay, so we've got like a huge a spreadsheet with hundreds of user feedbacks, but those are like the general categories that people are complaining about. And here are the like combined set of pain points that user had. So I've like went that way, and right now the project is on pause. Can't find like the resources to finish that. But the general idea was like really great, and like the initial feedback from my friends who tried that, it was like super cool. So I think you might try something similar, like at least like brainstorm a bit about that. So for example, if you will have a person that enters like a big set of requirements into the search bar, and then you might not get rid of OpenAI entirely, but ask OpenAI to like reduce that to the set of like general things like UX designer and that, or and that, but not that, for example. And then do the vector search through that. That might be something worth trying out. So yeah, thinking out loud here, but yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea, because we discovered that vector-based approach is quite resource intensive because we have more than 100 million people profiles, and for each of them we need to generate vectors. And you can imagine how much resources we need to spend even for not really big model. We tried to use mini LM, but even in this case we need to rent separately a huge servers and so on. So we're trying to figure out how to fix it.
Yeah, but please share your findings, because that sounds like a super interesting technical issue, like technical challenge, I'd say. So I think a lot of people would find it useful in the community. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Max, if you don't mind me playing matchmaker now, maybe you and Vlad ought to start talking as well offline, maybe, because you have some experience in this already. That's pretty cool. But I like it. Vlad, this is really cool, and I'd love to see as this progresses.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll try. So yeah, we are actually I guess the first time we talked was in 2018, if I'm not mistaken, like a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were studying at the same university, basically. We hanging out in the same community like for a couple years.
Sorry.
That's okay. No worries. You want to stop sharing your screen, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, done. Thank you.
No worries.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're set. This was good.
Yeah, fantastic call, folks.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for joining.
Yeah, this was great.
Much for organizing this, for inviting.
I like the format. I like that people can come in, kind of show what they're working on, maybe connect to other people, maybe get some input. Talk it through. You never know. It's good, at least for networking. Networking is a good thing, and you never know where it'll lead, and you might be able to meet the right people in the call, or even people that are watching afterwards. So anyway, thanks a lot, everybody, for joining. And you all have a good rest of the afternoon, evening, or whatever time of day it is where you are.
Yeah, thank you. Been glad to see you all.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Honestly, it's been better and better.
It is.
Great. Yeah, great call. Congratulations. And great products, honestly. Yeah.
Also, glad to hear that. Yeah, thank you.
Bye.